Homestead. So today we're going to be making paletas. We have been collecting strawberry for days, so we thought it would be a great time to do some paletas. In case you're wondering what that is, it's like a Mexican popsicle. So the kids are super excited, so let's go ahead and make some. So we're gonna do the base for the paleta, and this base can pretty much go for any flavor paleta. You add the flavoring later. We're gonna use 1 cup of Mexican crema. I found this at my local Walmart next to the cream cheese. I have found several different variations of Mexican crema. I like to use the one with the green lid. My local Walmart only has the one with the white lid. If I want the one with the green lid, I have to go to a Mexican store, but I found that both of them work really well. I just like the one with the green lid because it has a slightly different consistency. Back to the base, I'm going to be adding 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. And then 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. I'm not going to share the whole process, but I do scrape as much of this as I can out of the can. Then with a hand mixer, I'm going to be mixing all of the ingredients. So this is the base for any paleta flavor you would like to make. So I'm going to be doing strawberry flavor, so I'm going to go ahead and start on the syrup. You will need 1 cup of strawberries. So my little helpers are helping me out. What we do is we cut a V shape on the top of each strawberry to cut out that core. But even if you don't do that, it's okay. I realize that my boys don't cut it this way, and either way, the strawberries still taste yummy.
We got a test, so in case it's not poisonous, got a knife right here. I'm just gonna go
I'm going to be adding my 1 cup of strawberries into the food processor. One thing you can do if you want to get a little fancy and creative, you can add some strawberry slices into the mold and put it into the freezer for about 10 minutes before you're ready to put the actual paleta mix in there to give it this really pretty decorative strawberry look. The only thing I have to advise is not to make them too chunky. First one that I added was chunky, and then it becomes more like a little icicle. From here, I'm going to be adding my flavor syrup into the base of the paleta. And again, I'm going to scrape as much of it out of there as I can. Before I blend the ingredients together, I'm going to be adding 1 teaspoon of strawberry extract. Sometimes I do add 2 because I really like the flavoring. Then I'm going to be blending the flavor and the base of the paleta together. At the bottom, I'll link which molds I use, and then as far as filling it, I just use a regular ladle and a funnel. So from here, I add the paleta mix into the molds. The molds come with a fill line, so I did go back to fill it to that line. Without a doubt, this is probably the most messiest part of making paletas. If you decided to do the fancy version with the strawberry slices inside, after 10 minutes, they will be stuck to the side, so it'll be really easy to add the paleta filling. So from here, you have 2 options. You can either use the little handles that came with it, or you can use popsicle sticks, and I'll show you both variations. If you're going to be doing the popsicle option, go ahead and put the paletas in the mold for an hour without the stick. This will allow the paleta to harden a little bit so the stick doesn't sink down. After the paletas have been in the freezer for 30 minutes, I would recommend starting the popsicle sticks. The popsicle sticks are added into a bowl of water, so that way they begin to absorb water. So when you put them into the paleta, make sure they won't just slip out, they'll actually freeze with the paleta. After the paletas have been in the freezer for an hour, you can go ahead and insert the popsicle sticks, and then it's the daunting task of making sure that they're straight. After the popsicle sticks or the handles have been inserted into the paletas, they go into the freezer overnight or for 8 hours. So it is the next day and it is paleta time. This is the most exciting part. So I have a cup that, as you can see, the paleta fits perfectly in there. I add water and then I put it in the microwave for 2 minutes. You want the water to be warm and not hot, because if it's hot, it'll actually cause the paleta to melt. So then from there, I add the paleta mold into the warm water and I count 10 Mississippis, and then I check it. If it slides right out, that's perfect. If not, I put it in for another 10 Mississippis, and then I try again. Once I remove the paleta from the mold, I put it into a sandwich bag and I put it back into the freezer. And what that'll do is the outer layer has kind of softened, and that'll allow it to harden. Now if you want, you can eat them right away. You don't have to put them back in the freezer. I like to put it back in the freezer so that way that outer layer gets hard again and it's not all smushy. You can do it for about 30 minutes. And just as a little side note, one thing that I do is after we've harvested a big batch of strawberries, I just make tons of the paleta mold. I put it inside of a sandwich bag, put it in the refrigerator. After I remove the paletas from their mold and put them in sandwich bags, I just start another batch. And of course, the last step is to enjoy. I hope that this tutorial was helpful. Hopefully you guys can make some yummy paletas. Thanks for joining me, guys.